You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michelle Flamer.
Hi, River.
Hello, Michelle.
What's up? What's up, Buttercup?
Well, I'm sitting here looking at a giant vase of sunflowers because I grew my
Hmm.
sunflowers. Mentioned my sunflowers a few times in the podcast, and they got massive. I have one that is like 10 foot tall, and it almost took out a power line.
Whoa, those
I had to cut
stalks
it
are
down,
stocky.
but I cut a bunch of them down yesterday, and so I just have this big, beautiful vase of sunflowers sitting next to my computer where I'm recording, and it's just
Have you
beautiful.
have you ever turned them over and collected the sunflower seeds?
Yeah, I actually I'm doing that with most of them.
Hmm.
Some of the small ones because I want to grow the giant ones again. Like
Yeah.
mine are massive giant ones and I want to grow them again, so I'm doing that. But I cut the small ones for an indoor vase because I'm single and I give myself flowers.
I can buy myself flowers.
I can grow my own flowers.
Yeah, you can just grow your own and give them to yourself. You're winning. You're winning times
Yeah.
two. Oh my God, are we really going to talk about dating?
Dating.
Dating blows chunks.
Dating is the worst.
Says every person listening who's like a part of a couple who said, yes, it did suck, but now I have my person, right? Like it sucked so bad, but here they are.
And we've talked about this before, right? It's all about your mindset, right?
It is all mindset.
It's all mindset. Dating can suck. Not dating can suck. But you know what? I have been celibate and single. I've been single for 3 years now, almost 3 years. I have been celibate for over a year, and I love it. It
Yeah.
doesn't suck.
I literally, it's Saturday, right? It's Saturday night.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about how I told, you know what I love? I love my dear friends because I don't have to make up anything. I could just literally say, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm just exhausted tonight and just want to stay home. And they're
Yeah.
like, sweet. I was so tired. I mean, I don't mind with you coming over, like, because we'll have nice conversation, but they were like, I already flaked on my other plans and now I'm happy. Like now we're both happy. Are we just getting old? That was the text. Like, are we just getting old? I'm like, well, you have a busy week, knowing each other's lives. It's like, you have a really
Yeah.
busy week coming up. And she's like, I know. And I said, and I've had a busy week. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I know. And so now I'm just so happy to have my place
Mm-hmm.
to myself.
Yeah. Saturday night's taking a whole different look when you're a single parent.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't think I've pulled out anything fun from the drawer in a while.
You know what I've been doing that's really fun?
What?
I have started going not on Saturday nights, but on Thursday nights. I am going to a bachata class, which is
Yeah,
South
dancing,
American
right?
dance, which I love and I'm really
Yeah.
good at. A couple moved into town recently. They teach South American dance and they started a dance series. And I have been going, and I am one of three people who go who don't have partners going with them.
Aw, so who do you dance with?
It's a style of dance where you don't necessarily have to have a partner. Like the goal is to do partner dancing with it, but we're just learning the basic steps and like going through
That's
all of
perfect.
the, you know. But it's so funny because the first night I went, I walked in and saw one of my friends there as well, and I didn't know she was going and she didn't know I was going, and she's also a single mom, and we're like, "Hey, we're gonna be partners."
That's cute. And you guys can each take turns leading.
Yes, and I already
which I think
know
it's
how to do it, and she's learning for the first time. So I'm like, oh, I can lead. It'll be great. I can help you, you know? And I'm just enjoying it. And there's no part of me that's like looking around all the couples being like, I wish I had a
no,
partner.
you're like
This is so
you appreciate that
sad.
they're there and they're having fun and they
Yeah,
found
I'm like,
something
good for you
or
guys. And
they're stepping
also,
outside their comfort zone together or whatever.
yeah, and I'm getting outside of my house. I'm getting in a workout, and this is really fun.
Yeah. It's
I
like
mean,
me playing pickleball. It's like I love playing pickleball because it's social
yeah.
and you don't need to go there with anybody. Sometimes you
Hmm.
play against a couple, sometimes you don't. But yeah, I think it's so interesting. But yeah, dating really blows chunks sometimes.
It
And it's
does.
not that it blows. It's more like it feels like so much work, but
Yeah.
I've been listening to a few dating podcasts and they really did give me permission to just sort of peruse 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at
Hmm.
night, not make it a part-time job, like whatever's, again, whatever's for me, won't pass me
Hmm.
by. They'll keep the conversation going and, until you get to
Okay,
the phone
so
call.
where are you at with dating? I don't think we haven't talked about dating in a while, and when we talked about it before, it was like Michelle's dating someone. Where are you
Hmm.
at now with dating?
Yeah, I'm not dating anybody at the moment. Sadly, that went by the wayside and not for any lack of trying or, not wanting it and not being, I really love all the lessons that I learned. And at some point, you just have to, um, I think that's the point of dating. It's like it's not continually going to be like amazing because then you'd be
Hmm.
in a long-term relationship again. There's a part of me that this week, sort of looking back and going, like, should I, like, oh, if I jump on an app, which one? A couple of my friends are like, sliding into my Instagram, just like, just join them all. And I'm like, no, because again,
That sounds exhausting.
yeah, that
That's a
sounds
full-time job.
horrible to me. And, so I'm just trying to be intentional about the time that I spend on it.
Hmm.
And also, if I'm not attracting or if I'm not getting, yeah, I guess if I'm not attracting the kind of people that I hope to, then I'm also changing up what I say in my profile. And a
Mm.
lot of people say, "Oh, that no one reads the profiles." And I kind of beg to differ. I think
Yeah.
people who are intentional, who really want like
Yes.
to find their actual person, I'm finding actually reads them because
Yeah.
before
Yes.
they hit like also or feel like, oh, it's a match, or if they want to reach out at all. And the other thing that I read that I'm also doing is I'm changing out my first picture, like just
Mm.
alternating them and seeing what is getting like what gets more, likes or
You're
what gets
testing your own
people.
your dating profile algorithm here.
I am. I'm kind of like doing it myself because
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I'm not going to be on it for very long because that's just me. Like I just like to tip my let's just put my foot into the water for a little bit and then, fuck that, I'm out. But
People don't like I like what you said though about like the reading of the profiles because that has been my experience as well.
hmm,
I mean, I still have a dating app profile. I use Hinge and that's one of my favorite ones so far, but even then, um like I have it very clearly stated, very clear on my profile that I am a single mother. Like I have two kids. I have kids. And I still, so many people try to match with me and I go to their profile and I read their profile and they'll say like I had one last night who tried to match with me and it was so clear he didn't read my profile because his profile, one of the very first things it said was, if you have kids, that's a hard pass for me. And I
isn't
was
it
like, wait,
stupid?
hold up. You're saying kids are a hard pass, but you're trying to connect with me and I have kids. So
Hmm.
you're not reading. So that tells me that you're just out there swiping on every single person to see
So
if you can.
your first picture should probably be with your kids, but like you can cover their face?
Oh no, I don't even want to put any pictures with my kids on my dating profile just 'cause men, there's so many weirdo men out there. And someone made a really good point to me about dating app profile pictures is that there are men who may specifically look for single mothers because they are weird towards kids. Like,
Mm,
you know, weirdo men who like kids may specifically target women who they visibly see that they have kids. So
gotcha.
having it in my profile as like a written thing
Mhm.
feels a little bit safer.
Yeah, that's true. And you could put have kids
Yeah.
in the
I
top. Yeah.
it like it
Just
says
where I
like do you
put,
have kids? Like it says I have kids and then I very like in the first statement I have it's like I am a single mom. Like I'm very clear about like I have kids.
yeah, it's funny when like you put, I literally put no couples, no poly, not a unicorn with like the gay flag on either side emoji.
Mhm.
And I still get these motherfuckers trying to like bring me in to their couples. And I'm just like, no. Or I have to really look for other women like who are poly. And I am finding that there are so many bisexual women on there now and bi-curious and like all these things. And, you have to really think about as a true OG lesbian that I am, like, do I want to be someone's curiosity or
Mm,
do I want to, if they're a really quality human being, is it worth it? I think I'm not afraid of any of the risks anymore. Like, I mean,
mm,
as long as I know someone's not gonna like literally hit me with their car or something, you know what I mean?
mhm.
Then I think taking risks is really what dating is kind of all about. It's like,
You mean like dating someone who's bisexual, like not knowing if they're going to I mean, you remember not that long ago, I made a huge controversial post in one of our favorite Facebook groups by talking about that very topic of, why is it that a lot of lesbians don't want to date bisexual women? It's a very sore topic for a lot of people, and that's a huge non-negotiable for a lot of queer women of
mm-hmm,
not dating someone who's bisexual because of the narratives that a woman who's bisexual is just going to go back to a man eventually. And a lot of
yeah.
people have experienced that. So they have to like a valid thing, but non-negotiables are so interesting. Is that one of your non-negotiables or like you're saying you're open to that?
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily want to be someone's first time,
Mm-hmm.
in that, like, unless we really vibed, like, then of course I wouldn't give a shit because if they've had sex before, like, it's not like they're coming in as a virgin. They
Yeah.
just haven't maybe explored a woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is a little bit different. So of course it's not a big deal. You just have to sort of slow down and navigate a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like that's such a big deal. I think where a lot of the lesbians get really caught up in like, and if for some reason it doesn't work out and they go back to men, like that's not on me. Like that's not a me thing. Again, like I think it's just the mindset of how you go into the dating.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have I don't have as many non-negotiables around sexual preference. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing that I have a non-nego is that I just want like a cis woman. Like I'm not truly attracted to like, transitioning women, who
Mm-hmm.
were gay for a long time and now are transitioning to being men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I will 100% cheer them on. I am pro trans rights and,
Same.
love them finding themselves and man, they're cool friends, but it's not somebody I want to have a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
So I've now changed, so I can put cis women on there just to
Mm.
like be a little clearer. And so I think I just kind of keep evolving like what I might say, and
Yeah.
I mess around with it to see like what kind of what it attracts.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at it more in that like more scientific in that sense of like playing around with
Mm-hmm.
like my own photos, what attracts who, like if I look super mask, am I attracting super femme?
Mm,
If it's just me without any glasses on and a smile looking like natural, like on one of my walks, it attracts different people than when
yeah.
I have one that looks super but like the where I look a little more butchy or whatever.
It is
So
interesting because I've noticed like if I have a photo that shows a little bit more cleavage,
yeah,
my message inbox starts to fill up more versus if I
see,
have
that's
one of myself
interesting.
hiking because I love to hike. If a hiking one is my main profile picture, it gets really quiet in my inbox.
That's funny.
Booby self.
Even if the second picture might have cleavage.
Yep.
Hmm.
Because most people are looking at that first photo and
See,
swiping.
I do look at the first photo, but then I go to if they have more photos, I will go look because everybody can look so different in their pictures.
If the first photo intrigues me, then I will go and look at the rest.
But if it's
And
just a shitty shot, you're like, fuck it.
if there's a fish in the picture, bye.
Oh my God. Because you're up in the Northwest. So do you get like all these guys like they're like
Oh my
got
God,
their
yeah.
fish or they're hunting.
Oh, so much dead animals in photos.
Really?
Yes. Oh, it's so bad. And
Maybe
honestly, it's so bad that
maybe
I'm like
this
to the
episode
where
just
I'm
took a
like,
turn.
it's so bad at the point where I'm like, maybe I could start a new business of just like swiping on all these men with terrible dating profile pictures and messaging them being like, I'm not interested in you, but I want to help you get dates. Let's do your photos.
Uh-huh. I actually think that's a great idea.
Because they're so bad. And
Oh
there's
my
some, and
God.
you're like, you look really cute. But, and what it is most guys don't have pictures of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They have whatever photos their buddies may have taken. And when do men take you pictures of each other? When they're on fishing trips,
Or
when
their
they're
former
camping or
girlfriends
hiking, or
took,
their former girlfriend took a picture, or their mom took a picture.
or
So
their
it's like,
current wife, and they don't.
yeah, exactly. Or they have their pictures with their kids. Um, yes. So non-negotiables though.
So for me, my non-negotiables are at the moment, like I have a huge list that I can
Yeah,
tap into.
we both have lists.
I know we both have really big lists.
I'm curious though, because we've talked about non-negotiables before. Have any of your non-negotiables changed
Oh, that's a good question. Um,
as you've gone through the process of dating?
no, I just find that I have I have new questions that I need answered prior to my and then these are for like in person, not necessarily like
Mhm.
in those first couple of like just trying to find a rhythm with somebody like, hey, do you want to like jump on a phone call, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like before, like with the phone calls and stuff, I will totally like I'm trying to explain it. It's like it's not necessarily non-negotiables. It's more of like with every time you go through a cycle with somebody, like I date somebody for a short period of time, meaning like maybe a month or three, like under 90 days, under that three
Mhm.
months. But you can learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot
Yeah.
about them. You learn to see like if this is a good fit. Um, but you're not like future faking yourself. You're not putting yourself self abandoning yourself. You're not like doing any of that at this point because you're just trying to like find the rhythm,
Yeah.
find that reciprocity. Um but I have I have a
Mm.
qualifying round, like, like there's new questions from each person that I have the pleasure of getting to know, because I don't
Mhm.
think it's a negative thing if it doesn't work out. It's just, again, rejection. I call rejection meaning energetically, we're not a fit, right? It's not like,
Redirection.
yeah, and then we redirect. So it's for me, it's just constant redirection
Yeah.
of like, oh God, that got close, but
Hmm.
I need A, B, and C going forward. And so
The more
that
you date, the more information you gain.
yeah, that's it. It's like what Samantha Fox always says, the lesbian curiosity coach. She always says like it takes 2 years to really get to know somebody.
Mm,
And then dating is really about just collecting data.
yeah. Yeah.
And so we're just collecting data. Like
Yeah.
even if you see yourself with this person, like you're like, God, I could really like if we could get through this period of time, if we could keep talking about it all. Um, like for instance, trauma, right? Like everybody has their own trauma. There's big T, there's little t.
Hmm.
None of that is a non-negotiable for me. It really is more about how the trauma shows up, how it affects or doesn't affect the current, like, the relationship and how that's growing. Are we, because of trauma, does it allow us to get to a really beautiful, vulnerable space, which is the ideal place you want to be? Like, I want to be vulnerable with somebody that I can feel safe with.
Hmm.
That's like caring as much as I am, because I know that I will always care that way.
Yeah.
And I will care through. I won't care and then stop, or care up to a certain point. There's like, I will care. I will just care. I will want to know that person. And I think it's those types of that new data that's allowing me to hone in on if this person's trauma, if they're leading with it, is it going to be forever that they lead
Mm.
with it? Or are they open to, if they haven't been in therapy in a while, will they go back to therapy? Because I'm all about growth mindset. Like, are they open to connecting on a deeper level where I get to show them that I could be a safe space for them? So
Yeah.
it really depends on like how they show up with all of that. And
Hmm.
if we're compatible within that space.
Yeah, because I mean, I will say, as someone who has a fuck ton of trauma from childhood and early adulthood, that shows up in relationship. It
Yeah,
absolutely does. But
yeah.
how the person interacts with it and
Hmm.
takes care of their trauma and themselves and their internal world is going to shape how it shows up in the relationship.
Yeah. And I really do believe that I really do believe now, where I am on my journey, that the finding the person is not the issue. It's really about finding out how we connect, how we,
Mm.
bridge, all of those pieces together. And if how we do it can be compatible in a way of like, I want to give you room and space to move through whatever you need to move through. You tell me if you want me in the room, or
Hmm.
if you need to do this, one, by yourself, two, with your therapist,
Hmm.
um, and three, go away for a week because you just need to process some shit, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like what does that need for you? Because of where I'm at, I am also going to show up in the way that if something pops up for me, I'm going to be able to communicate it and
Hmm.
say, hey, this is a real challenge for me, but I do better talking through it. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do, like, I think like I'm learning so much where I can say now, like, hey, does this have anything to do with you or I or me?
Hmm.
And most often they go, no. And I'm like, cool, ears open. How can I be of service? Like,
Well, I mean, and no one is going to show up perfect to a relationship. And so if
of
people are out
course
there
not.
searching for perfection, it just doesn't exist. It's more about how do people show up for themselves
Mhm.
and for relationships. No
It's
one's going to
how
come to a relationship perfectly healed.
Exactly. It's how we show up together,
Hmm.
because we can either grow together, which is where you see these beautiful, successful relationships where after
Pam and
20,
Jim.
what?
Pam and Jim. We were talking
Oh,
about Pam
oh,
and
from
Jim
The
in the
Office, Pam
office
and
before we
Jim.
started recording.
I know you
Because
love
I've been rewatching The Office, and the episode last night came on where Pam and Jim get married, and I won't give spoilers if you haven't seen The Office, but it's just a very, very sweet episode. And they were friends for so long before they
Yeah.
got married. And I'm just like, I want a relationship like Pam and Jim,
And
where they
if you
show up
don't,
for each other and they grow
right.
together.
Unfortunately, the reality is that most of us are meeting through online sites or through social media. Like TikTok is still probably one of the number one places people are meeting each other still.
Really? That's the place, TikTok?
Yeah, especially for lesbian TikTok, like it's
Oh, okay.
massive. Yeah, it's like
I don't use TikTok anymore, so it's just I
yeah,
never
I
met
know
anyone on
there's so
TikTok.
many people who have met their person on
I have
TikTok.
met the last two, mm, the last three people I've dated, I've met on Instagram.
Hmm.
Yeah, the last three
See?
people I've dated, I met on Instagram. Yeah, since getting divorced, I've dated, and all but one have been through Instagram. Yeah, one was on a dating app. Um, yeah, I feel like I hear more about people successfully meeting on social media now than dating apps.
Yeah. But
And
that's
I'm wondering if that's because, like, when you're on social media, you are seeing who someone is more than you would on a dating app, which is, dating apps, like social media is curated content, but a dating app profile is heavily curated, like so curated. And then social media is a little less curated because it's more real time, like real
yep.
life. Um, so you get to kind of get a feel. And that's what happened for me when, I mean, I slid into someone's DMs through
Mhm.
Instagram because I just liked their vibe and their energy through their Instagram. And we had mutual friends and we were in the same place. And I was like, you seem like someone I'd want to hang out with. And that's what I led with of like, hey, let's go. Would you like to hang out sometime?
Yeah.
And it
No,
went from there.
no, totally. It's really just one of these things where, again, it's like I don't think there's a lot of non-negotiables for me other than like the big, couple like alcoholic,
Mm,
drug addict, you know, I don't know, you name it, like won't pay their child, like doesn't have, working, functioning, friendships or other
mm,
things. It's like, I think again, for me, I'm really learning. It's like, how do we repair together?
mm,
And the only way you find that out is having some really intense conversations. But guess what? It's like, I haven't started to practice this truly yet. I've taken a little bit of a break, but I think like when I get the opportunity to like connect on a better, on a deeper level or whatnot, I do want to start practicing that and putting
mm,
and really pushing the needle a little bit, to get there a little faster, not to like move faster, but just to get to that space faster,
mm.
so that I can understand a little bit more of where they're coming from. I mean, it still takes time to get to know someone, obviously, but
Yeah.
I just I'm just curious, like where they're at that point and how
Yeah.
they maneuver, how do they run, how do they show up for it? Show up for
Yeah.
themselves, especially, or show up
Where
for
are
their,
they at in their life?
yeah, if they have children, show up for their children, show up for their parents, show up through their, for their friends, things like that.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like, getting a broad overview, like a map.
It's
It's, a
true.
map. And then you can, once you get the broad overview of the map, you can then peruse deeper and see where does this road go. That's a terrible analogy, but, get the big
I
picture
mean,
and then get,
ideally you'd love to meet in the wild, but it just, I don't know if it happens as much anymore. It really seems harder to
it
find.
does because I am socializing more now this year than I have been in the past. And I am doing more extracurricular things like going to the dance class and I am going to coffee shops with friends and I'm work my job that I'm working I'm interacting with a lot more people and so my like social circle is growing a little bit and it might just be where I live maybe there's just not a lot of single
Mhm.
people here, but it's really hard
I bet.
to meet in the wild
Yeah,
in
I bet it
rural
is.
Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably less, well, I just don't feel like going to a bar though either.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't go to bars.
I know I don't love them. So
And
it
the
is,
kind of person I want doesn't go to a bar.
yeah. And because I have the kid, every other week still, it's hard to even get into a rhythm around like showing up for kickball or showing up for like, kind of the gay sports, social sports, which
Mm-hmm.
are really super fun and but that's why I think it's I don't know, you just have to sort of try out different things. But yeah, I don't really kind of go off my list as much anymore, as more of a feeling around all of it. I think over this last like 8 months, I mean, I've talked about it. It's more
Yeah.
of like, how do we want to feel around
Mm-hmm.
somebody?
Yeah, and for me, some of my non-negotiables have changed
Mm-hmm.
in the process of being celibate and not dating for the last year and a half. Um, one of my really big non-negotiables has changed, and that was for so long I had it basically at the top of my list that I will not date someone with kids. We talked about it here on
Mm-hmm.
the podcast before. I will not date someone with kids. And then in the last couple of months, I haven't run into a situation where I was going to date someone with kids, but I just started thinking about it of why is this a non-negotiable for me? Because I hadn't really evaluated why I didn't want to date someone with kids. Like my reasons were, oh, I don't like the idea of having conflicting schedules and like, other baby mamas and, all of that. I've been a step parent before, it's hard. And then I really sat and thought about it and I was like, oh, no, there's a trauma behind that. There's a trauma behind that one because I was a step parent for 8 years. And
Mm-hmm.
I really loved my stepdaughter, still love her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get to see her anymore. I rarely see her. She and I are not connected as much as I would like to be. And that really hurt my heart because I spent 8 years helping to raise this child. And I realized that that non-negotiable was trying to protect my heart because the reality is that I love kids.
Mm-hmm. I know
Really
you
love
do.
kids and I
That's
work with
why I was
kids
like,
and
I mean, but I
but
honor like,
kids don't bother me. It's the getting connected to a kid and then potentially losing that connection with that kid the same way I did with my step kiddo.
mm,
And so that was my non-negotiable because it was a protection thing. Like I have this
mhm,
fear that it's going to be the same story. And so I've been telling
mhm.
myself, if I meet a wonderful person who happens to have kids, it's never going to be the same story as my last situation.
That's right. Never will
And
be again.
so now I'm letting myself be open to the idea of meeting someone with kids because the reality at age 36, meeting single people, most single people in their late 30s have kids.
Hmm. Then maybe you should go on to more of like a Bumble or a Match.com where hetero-wise, it's a bigger pool for
Mm,
match.
yeah. I don't I'm still using dating apps, but I'm not like it's not
Yeah.
a heavy hitter for me. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of in a space where I'm like, yeah, when it's meant to happen, it'll happen. I'm going out and I'm socializing.
Yeah.
I have a dating app profile. I check it every couple of days. Um, I'm just not stressing about it. I'm like, it'll happen when it's meant to
Yeah.
happen.
I'm clearly not stressed about any of it also, mainly also because I really do enjoy my time by myself. Like,
I do too.
and yeah, it takes so much for me to feel really connected with people because I really, really do need to have like that soul kind of connection and feeling and I don't just want to chase that at
Mm,
all, I really want to honor and cherish um this precious time because I continue to learn so much about myself in this space.
hmm
But mainly like looking at dating is just I'm just going at it such a different way now because I can live without it also.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't
Yeah.
mind pushing the envelope a little bit,
Yeah.
especially in the first couple of, connect, like texts back and forth or messaging on the apps. Um, because if there's a natural flow and cadence, it'll just be there. And so that's why
Mhm.
you don't have to force anything.
Yeah. It'll happen when it's the right time. And for me, I'm kind of just trying to exude this energy of being open because I've
Hmm.
been pretty closed off for the last year and a half. Just even in little ways like the guy who delivers my groceries every weekend when I order my groceries, super freaking cute. And so I have interactions. I'll be like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And like just, like letting
Totally.
myself like acknowledge, "Oh, this person's cute," and like be a little flirty and just making note of those things and allowing that energy to be there where before it would be like, "Oh, there's a cute guy. I'm not even gonna look. Not
Hmm.
even gonna look. Shut it down. Don't have anything, don't have any feelings, thoughts, anything." And now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna allow those things to happen because
Yeah.
that's the kind of energy that I want to be in so that when I do meet someone, it's like I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm noticing, I'm here.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. I mean, I think I think it really the whole dating scenarios and everything. Um yeah, I think the terminology around dating also gets people really like in a funk a little bit.
Like what kind of terminology?
Like the word, like the just the terminology of like now we're gonna go on a date and we're dating and we're like, I don't know, I think we're just getting to know each other. Like let's just get to know
Mm,
each other and decide if we want to date. Like I don't think what you're doing until you literally have like maybe a second to third like in-person solid evening of like I really look forward to hanging out with that person again. Then
hmm.
can you kind of call it dating at that point?
Yeah, I agree with that because it is interesting to watch like some of the singles groups I'm in on Facebook. Women especially do this. I don't think men do this as much, at least from what I've observed. Women do this thing where they're like, I went on 2 dates with this person and they're not texting me very much. Ah, they must not like me. And it's like, no, this person, you're literally getting to know this person and there is no obligation for them to text you.
Nope.
You are not in a relationship.
Nope.
You've been on 2 dates.
That's right. And so I think until someone's like, hey, I really want to continue to get to know you, and there's
Yes.
a reciprocity within that, like you're both,
Yes.
then you're kind of like, all right, well, let's date now. Like,
Yeah,
let's
you're creating a container together. Like we're entering this
exactly.
container together. We're gonna get to know each other. It's intentional.
Exactly. And that's why I don't feel like there's any like all this shit on, in the dating sites and talking back and forth. It's like it means nothing until someone says, "Hey, let's show up and meet each other in person.
Yes.
Let's have a even if we have a conversation on a phone, like that's still like that's a little better. It's a step forward. We're showing more
Doesn't
interest.
mean you're in a relationship.
Doesn't mean you're even dating at that point still. Like you're just
You're
acknowledging
data
that,
collecting.
right, you're data collecting, you're acknowledging that there's enough common ground.
Hmm.
There's enough like curiosity, because I think it's just really all about that. So for me, I think these days it's a different energy around it
Hmm.
and that feels actually spacious and feels really good for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like where I'm at too. It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressing about it.
Yeah.
Most days I don't think about it anymore.
I know. You don't have to even think about it. But yeah, no, happy that we got to connect on it a little bit and
Catch
um
everybody up on our dating lives.
I don't know how much they
I
care,
don't
but
have
let's
one.
get or lack thereof. I don't know. But hey, I'm happy we got to do this and I always love our conversations.
Me too.
Love you.
Love you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.